Thank you for tuning in to Terry Swoop Videos. On today's video, I'm going to do a Where Are They Now on the dance group The Lockers. The Lockers were a popular dance group in the 1970s. They originated the dance style locking. I see a lot of younger people nowadays locking and popping. This is the most popular dance style. But a lot of younger people today don't realize that this dance style was created by Don Cambelock. Don Cambelock created this style of locking. He started dancing on Soul Train in 1971. And he danced on Soul Train from 1971 to 1973. What made him form the group The Lockers is Don Cornelius refused to pay Soul Train dancers. After Don went to him and asked to be paid, Don refused to pay Soul Train dancers. So Don Cambelock and several other Soul Train dancers formed The Lockers. Now his girlfriend at the time was Toni Basil. As you all know, Toni Basil was very popular in the 1980s for the song Mickey. But she actually started dancing with The Lockers in the early 1970s. And she was Don Cambelock's girlfriend. And they formed the group in 1973. Now the 7 original members of The Lockers were Slim the Robot, Don Cambelock, Shabba-Doo, Greg Cambelock Jr., Flunky Luke, Mr. Penguin, aka Rerun, and Toni Basil. Now throughout the 1970s, they were hugely successful. They toured throughout the world. They appeared in commercials. They appeared in TV shows. They appeared in variety shows. They were hugely successful. They even appeared in cartoons. That's how popular they were. They were most popular when Toni Basil was part of the group. And I have to give credit to Toni Basil. She was the only woman in the group and she held her own. I think Toni Basil is one of the greatest dancers of all time because she can dance any type of dance, whether it be hip hop, whether it be classical dance, she can do it all. And if I ever do a top 10 video on the greatest female dancers of all time, she will definitely be in my top 5. A lot of people always thought that Don and Greg were brothers because they share the same last name and they dance similar and they look similar. But they're actually not brothers. They first met each other in 1971 dancing on Soul Train. Greg's real name is Greg Pope. He changed his name to Greg Cambelock Jr. after adopting Don's dance style. Once he adopted his dance style, that's when he changed his name to Greg Cambelock Jr.
Media could probably tell you because it was Don Campbell, and then Demeter seen this guy dancing. He was doing locking really good, and she came up and told us all about him. Even though the Cambelock Jr. was watching Don Campbell, I guess he never met him.
Never, no.
But Demeter, I don't know if she made. I don't know that. So I just know that you named him.
Yeah, because I said he's a little Don Campbell Jr.
Yeah, that's how it started.
And then that's when I said, so you're Cambelock Jr. And then the next thing I know is, that's my name.
And he kept that name.
And he kept the
And
name.
he started hanging around us.
And I would hear it through the years. Why'd you call him that? Because he's dancing exactly and looking just like you. I have to go like, oh, whatever.
I was born in Anniston, Alabama, but at the time my dancing skills started to surface, I was in Compton, California. I started at a very early age, around 5 years old, to show dance skills. My parents were dancers. My mom and my dad was my mentors for dancing. My dad was real smooth. He was a big, tall guy, and my mom was a little petite woman who always had everything perfect. They moved really good. My mom used to walk around the house singing Temptations and Supreme songs, and I got that showbiz feel from her, and a mixture of both of them. But it wasn't until later that I started to know the different styles. I loved Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly and the Nicholas Brothers and Bill Robinson Bojangles, and they were always cool and smooth, and they did splits. Then there was James Brown thing came along. He was the quickest, coolest guy on the planet. Then in my later years, I became a little monster of doing all these special little moves, going a little above and beyond what the other dancers would do. But then I met my real mentor, Mr. Don Campbell. He was the coolest dude on the planet. And he had a cool smile, and he came out with a new concept of dance style. Now, I saw him developing as time went on. And then I just realized that I had a lot of things that I already know how to do that would, fill up the time slot where he was a much bigger guy. He had stopped a little more when I had to put more things into it to make it more exciting, to keep me moving forward. And this is how my style connects from Don Campbell's style and the style from previous dances that I always was well accustomed to doing.
Fred Berry, aka Rerun, was one of my favorite members in the group. As you all know, he was on the show What's Happening from 1976 to 1979. And he also joined the reboot show What's Happening Now from 1984 to 1987. He passed away in 2003. And I don't think he gets a lot of credit that he deserves for being one of the pioneers of locking. And you all know Shabba-Doo from the breaking movies. Shabba-Doo is most known for breaking movies in 1983 and 1984. Those movies were hugely successful, but he actually started off as a Soul Train dancer. And then he joined the Lockers in 1973. So much respect to Shabba-Doo. Shabba-Doo is now 65 years old. It's hard to believe he's that old, but he's now 65 years old. And I think he looks amazing. He's still in great shape. He's still dancing. He's still doing choreography. When I was growing up in the 80s, he was my childhood idol. And I'm glad to see that he's still alive and doing well. Toni Basil is now 76 years old, and she looks amazing. This woman started dancing in the 1960s. There's a video of her dancing with Elvis in the 60s. And she's still dancing now, 50 years later. That's amazing. It goes to show that dancing keeps you in shape and it keeps you young. So for a lot of the older people out there, if you want to stay young, if you want to stay in shape, do what Toni Basil is doing. Dance. Go to dancing club. They got dancing classes for elderly people. So if you want to keep yourself young, if you want to keep yourself in shape, do what Shabba-Doo is doing and do what Toni Basil is doing. Because they both look really young to be in their 60s and 70s. Both of these people are in better shape than I am, and I'm 30 years younger than they are. That just tells you right there that dancing brings life to you, and it brings health to you. Most of the members of the Lockers are still alive. It's only 3 members that have passed away. Greg Campbell-Locke Jr. passed away in 2010. Fred Berry passed away in 2003. And Don Campbell-Locke passed away in March 31st of this year. Those are the 3 members that have passed away, and there's 4 members that are still alive. I just think the Lockers need to get more respect. I think they should be in the Hall of Fame, especially Don Campbell-Locke, the creator and inventor of locking. He passed away March 31st of this year, and may his soul rest in peace. I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves for creating one of the greatest dance styles of all time. A lot of people have different opinions about this topic. Leave a comment, rate, and subscribe.